We can get started. So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm James Philpott from the European Digital SME Alliance. We are one of the partners of the PISTIS project, who are organizing this Living Lab today. So I won't spoil too much about PISTIS because we'll be discussing that a bit later. But essentially, we are working on developing a European data trading platform. So this Living Lab is focused a bit more on the data economy and SMEs and how and why companies can and should begin using their own data and then potentially buying or selling data to and from other companies. So to discuss all this and learn a bit more about it, we have three experts from the PISTIS project joining us today. Firstly, we will have Luigi Mosca from Imperial College, who has joined us to explain how companies can begin to think about incorporating data into their business models, both from kind of internal and external sources. So Luigi is a research associate at the Imperial College Business School and completed his PhD in management at the University of Padova. And his research focuses on business model innovation and the adoption of digital technologies in mature industries. After this, Deborah Zanato, who is the lead human factors consultant at Deep Blue, will take us through an interactive scenario which will help companies understand the actions and information required to begin trading data. So Deborah holds a PhD in human-robot interaction and has expert in psychology and neuroscience. And her research at Deep Blue focuses on implementing innovative technologies and using quantitative measurements, behavioral change analysis, and developing trust between humans and AI. And then finally, after this, Dr. Yuri Glickman, who is the coordinator of the PISTIS project, will introduce the PISTIS data trading platform and highlight how it can benefit companies to use such a platform. So Yuri is a researcher and the deputy head of Digital Public Services Department at Fraunhofer Focus. And as I said, he's the coordinator of PISTIS, and he also leads the team at Fraunhofer that is responsible for the development of Pivo, which is an open source RDF-based data catalog solution for open data and data spaces. So we have a really expert team with us today. I'd just like to say one more thing before we jump in, and that is the meeting is being recorded and we'll be sharing it on YouTube later. So if there is anything in the comments or discussions that you don't want shared publicly, just send me a message and I'll be able to take it out of the recording before we put that online. This is an interactive living lab, so you do have the ability to unmute yourself. So at any point, if you want to make a comment or ask a question or answer one of the kind of questions from the presenters, please feel free to do so. And with that, I will pass over to Luigi for the first session.
Morning, everybody. Just sharing my screen with the slides, so hold on for a sec. Okay, wonderful. I guess you can see my slides, right? All right. So, morning, everybody. As James nicely introduced me, I'm Luigi Mosca. I'm a research associate at Imperial College London. And today I would like to start by asking you a couple of questions. So the idea is really to investigate a little bit the data-driven strategy and to understand what is the current picture in this room. So do you people use data in some extent, and how we can identify them? So for those of you who don't know Mentimeter, this is a software, a program where we can ask some question. It's very easy. You can go on menti.com and insert the code 87924175, or you can simply scan the QR code that is in this slide. Once you've done that, you can start replying these three questions. We can see the results together. So let me know if it works, and let's start to see with this question together. So once again, go to menti.com and insert the code or scan the QR code. Oh, amazing. I can already see some question coming in. This means it works. Let's watch the findings together. Okay. What do you think is the biggest benefit of incorporating data in your business strategy? Tools to gather data, knowledge-driven decision, accuracy, customer insight, efficiency, compliance, a faster decision. Okay, all good points. Anyone else? I think we are going through all these points, so it's great. Time saving. Don't be shy. It's easy. You can quickly reply with your phone. A lot about knowledge. So I'm going to keep a couple of minutes at the end of my presentation just to see, to open discussion about knowledge because it's a very interesting point. Okay. You can move to the next question. So automatically you should be able to address this other question. Can anyone think of a recent business decision they made that could have been improved with better data? So have you used it? And you made a decision in your business, but actually could have been improved by using data or having better data. Yes. An example of business decision? We definitely have a big yes, which means we are convinced of that. But let's have a real example. I think before we had the customer insight, so how you could exploit the customer insight with better data to do what? Or knowledge. What kind of knowledge we need to take better decisions?
Sorry, Luigi, apparently, at least from my side, it is not working. It is on hold. Okay. Now it's going ahead. Okay, sorry.
Thanks for letting us know, Francesco. Cost of an event. Interesting. Think hard. It's easy. Ah, yes. Investment in your project, outreach, advocacy, interesting. Investment in new project. I'm happy to follow up on this point because it can be basically everything, right? It can be a short project, a long project, an internationalization kind of strategy. It can be a lot of things here. New materials, new tools. I'm waiting other 10 seconds. Anyone else? Final ideas? Okay, I can see not many business decisions have been made or could have been improved with better data. We can discuss about that. Final question, and let me know in the case it doesn't work. What do you think is the biggest barrier to become a data-driven organization in your company? So why you are not already data-driven organization? What are the challenges, the issues? There is a reason why you joined this presentation this morning. Lack of know-how, data, okay, storage, legal issues, definitely yes. Lack of know-how. Okay, definitely we need to spend some time about know-how. Easy tools to get the data. Interesting. I think it's actually probably my second or third slide about where we can find data within our organizations. Okay, the last 10 seconds, then I think we need to move forward. Technology. So I think you are at the right place. Okay, thank you so much. I know that it's early in the morning and the brain is still stop working, just still needs some times, but I think we got some data heterogeneity, of course. Okay. Thank you for this, and happy to share, to spend some time at the end of my presentation to talk about this, because I think they are quite interesting points. Now, let me go back to my slide deck. Okay, so I think it's quite obvious that we are here because we are interested in our organization, right, use data, and why it's important. Definitely, we always heard about big cases, right? Important companies, Uber, Netflix, Amazon, and we know they have changed the industry just because they use data. So definitely we have great examples. All right, here I'm reporting some typical cases like Starbucks that is trying to partner with local location analytics company in order to understand the demographic, the traffic patterns of the areas, so they can, open new stores in the best place where there are more people. Or Amazon, that is, using the recommendation suggestion for the new products in order to sell more. And actually, I could find something more recent, but apparently McKinsey research in 2017 found out that 35% of the Amazon customer purchases were actually connected to the recommendation system. And I'm guessing that nowadays it's even higher, the percentage. But so definitely we have great cases, but the question here is, okay, how we can, adopt the same strategy even though we are not Uber, Netflix, or Amazon. Well, first thing I can tell you where I can find data, and I can tell you that data is everywhere. You can use your internal data, accounting data, for example, external, so household preferences, so the data that you can find out there, so from market research or this kind of stuff. There are different types of data, more structures, for example, when you have data about your customer orders, or structures that still can be quite helpful, like tweets, video, audio that you post or that you create. Why we need data and what is our ultimate goal? It's really to exploit our data monetization strategy, or actually to develop in the first place one that first help us to exploit internally your own data, okay, that you can collect from everywhere, or selling, renting, or allowing temporary access to your data. And this is one thing that PISTIS platform can help you doing that. So if you're interested in one of these these two strategies, definitely you are in the right place. Now, okay, we can exploit data. As you can see, I would say one of the ways selling, renting, this is probably the most common thing, or this is the first type of strategy that comes to your mind, but actually you can use data in different way. As I mentioned before, can be used to find out about customer pain points, right? So basically you can analyze data from social media likes, dislikes, feedbacks, review, and so on. Or you can even use to create and develop more customized product. You can collect data during experiments, right? So you can try to do experiment with your company, launching some prototypes, collecting feedback, develop your product, and so on and so forth. So there are different ways actually also to produce new data. It can help you to improve your processes, right? So nowadays, definitely there are the several AI tools that can help you to identify all the issues, the inefficiencies, and so on in your supply chain, your internal processes, and so on. Evaluate, as we said before, new product and services, or even just to try to develop new product ideas. So I heard that I don't know how many books recently have been written with the support of AI tools. So I can imagine people can even think about new product or new type of services, so complementary products to, thinking and using exploit AI tools. All of these, they need your data. And the idea is really something that I see the difference between a network that you create when you use your data and when you don't use your data. While before people had to invest a lot in R&D, and the only way was, okay, we need more customer in order to create added value for each customer. Here, when you exploit your data, you can have also a different way of thinking. That is not just more customers, but it's also including more data in order to have better product. And this is going to create you more value. So it's also a different way of thinking that needs to start from the top to redesign your strategy. So data are important, think about in a different way, and also try to think about a data network effect. And I'm sure that Yuri is going to tell you a little bit more later on and how to use PISTIS or exploit PISTIS to do so. Okay, I want to leave also some time for questions. So I'm going to just go very quickly to the idea of data ecosystem that really fits with the PISTIS platform. So the idea is, once you adopt one of these platforms, just PISTIS, is to create a data ecosystem strategy, okay? So basically is to not just use your own data, but through these platforms, through this strategy, companies are able to use data that are everywhere, also externally. This can help you to exploit economies of scales, definitely. This is the first thing. You can have a more collaborative network, so you can use data from other people as well as develop new product and service in collaborations. And in order to do so, you need to stick and think about data ecosystem archetypes. These are models that, are the most standardized way of creating your data ecosystem, but there are many, many different ways or different exception from these 5 archetypes. But still, I want to show you the most important. Data utilities will actually provide value-adding tools and services to other business, okay? Or you can simply improve the efficiency of your operations, right? So this is when you vertically integrate data within your business. And that end-to-end cross-sectoral platform that basically you are going to provide a new service or an end-to-end service to customers or to other businesses through a single platform. So you are increasing the services that you are providing, the number of services. It means you are going to create more value. The typical strategy of marketplace platform. These are the most common, or at least the first one that can come to your mind, like Amazon and Alibaba. A B2B infrastructures, very simple, where you need to think about the core infrastructure. This is more tech related. So these are the basics, okay? The idea is, okay, we need to identify data. They can be internally or our company, or they can be external. Through a data platform strategy, we can not just collect data externally, but we can also use to identify, to improve our strategy, to develop new product and new services. I just leave you with some questions that can be helpful in order to understand what are the next steps for to imply or to think about your data ecosystem. Very simple. How do we exchange data? How do we manage, identify access? And this is all the problem of privacy and so on. Storage, and also how to manage access to no longer data assets, and how we can actually scale up, and improve our ecosystem. These are questions that you need to think about. And I will say, even though this comes from a McKinsey digital reports, that with PISTIS you can more or less address all these questions together. Now, I will just leave some time, probably 1-2 minutes, for any question or comments, feedback, before I leave the floor to Yuri, to Deborah.
Thank you, Luigi. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
James, you want to add anything, any comment?
Yeah, actually, if no one else had a question, I did. How much data do you need to have before you can start using it? Like one data point, can that be enough? Do you need 10 data points, or how much do you think is necessary to actually gain insight rather than it just being a random kind of number or a random kind of piece of information?
Of course, this is a great question. This is probably one of the questions that we receive most, right? It's everybody's interested in the quantity of the data. I would say you need to be interested in the quality of the data. So if you want to just improve your product, you probably need data related to that product for 1 year or 2 years, or even less, just 3 months if you are experimenting with a prototype. If you need to change your strategy, you probably need much more data, right? So it depends on what you need to do and what type of data you actually need. So it's more about the quality of the data of the quantity, I would say. I think there's also another question.
Yeah, I think Francesca raised his hand.
Okay, Francesca.
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to ask whether we shall receive a copy of the presentation.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Could
sure.
we-
Are you going to
Yeah.
share? Okay, yes.
Thank you. Perfect. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, so thank you very much for that, Luigi. It doesn't
No,
seem
thank
like
you
there are
all.
any other
And
questions.
feel free to contact me. I think I will share the slides and also my email contact. So if you have any other question or some clarification, or you want the references that I mentioned in these slides, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to share everything.
Okay, thank you. We can send that material in for us. Okay, so now that we've all been convinced by Luigi to begin thinking about trading data and using it, Deborah's going to explain a bit more through an interactive game about why and how you need to begin thinking about this. So I think the right slide is on screen.
Yes, thank you. So good morning, everybody. What we would do in the next 10 to 15 minutes is playing a game. And this game and the concept behind is linked to what also Luigi showed you and discussed with you, especially when it comes to the Mentimeter responses. I realized that you were already seeing some benefits in using or approaching these data trading platforms, but you also highlighted a few challenges that go into the same direction of the purposes of this game. In particular, this lack of know-how, the need of having a tool that can be easy to be used to gather data, and then you mentioned also the technology. Now, with this in mind, we know that PISTIS is a platform that will help you sharing trading data, but especially monetizing your data. And it aims at guaranteeing a secure, trusted, and controlled exchange of data. However, please, next slide. We also know that new things, new technology, new solutions do bring uncertainty. Uncertainty to the way they should be used, on whether they really bring an added value. To put it simply, let's say that most of the time organizations, when they face new solution, they start wondering, do I really need that? Because I still can do my job, my work without that. So there is a struggle in understanding where is the added value of this. And most of the time they see higher risks than pros. This lies a little bit underneath the surface of a lack of familiarity with the concept and with the context. Knowing how to use the solution and knowing how to perform your job with the new solution most of the time helps, or at least this is what psychology tells us. So what we're aiming to do today in the next 10 minutes is help you familiarizing with the concept of data trading, right? Why? Because we want you to understand the platform's added value. We want you to help understanding that it's possible to build some sort of trust in the platform reliability, and to have a clear understanding of the benefits that you will gather from that. How? Please, next slide. We developed an extremely short game that, visually speaking, has nothing to do with the PISTIS platform features, visually speaking, but concept-wise, it basically mimics the main functionalities and main steps you might be taking when you want to either acquire or sell data. The reason for that is that because we want you to familiarize with the concept to see if this helps you have a better understanding of the added value of PISTIS, right? So, and what you will be asked to do is, let me just paste the link to the game on the chat, is clicking on this link. Well, you should see an informed consent first, then you will need to sign. Then you will see a few questions to answer to, because we need a little bit of an understanding of your current situation. And then you will play a 5 minutes game in which you will either choose to be a data provider or a data consumer within a fictional scenario. And you will be guided through a set of choices that you might be willing to take to either sell or buy some data. At the end of it, you will also answer a few questions post-game survey. And once you've done that, we would like to hear what's your impression of that. Not the game itself, but whether this kind of activity has helped you a little bit understanding what really means exchanging data, and whether this might help you also using data trading platform. So if that's right for you, I will give you 6 to 7 minutes to complete the game. And in the meantime, if you want to pop some questions in the chat or just raise your hand and ask anything, please feel free to do it. And I hope you see the link and you can use it. If not, please let me know. I can see there's already 7 people using it, which is good. Right. I see that there's a few people that joined the game a little late, but it's absolutely fine. Please continue working on that if you want. For those who have already completed, because I see at least a couple, if you want to share your thoughts, again, not really on the structure of the game itself, but on whether this is something that can be valuable activity, something that we can bring forward, what it helped you also understanding a little bit better about how PISTIS might work and seeing the benefit of it. We have a shy audience.
If no one else is kind of got anything to say at the moment, I can share my thoughts because I enjoyed it. It's not the first time I've seen it, so maybe I was able to run through it a bit quicker and other people are still kind of going through it. But I like it because it provides quite a good understanding of the core elements of finding a data set and what you can use it for. Because if you go on to a data marketplace or a data trading platform, often it can be quite overwhelming because you have so many choices, so many filters that if you're looking at it for the first time, you can maybe be a bit lost. Whereas this really boils it down to what are you looking for? The data quality check is kind of done for you, so you don't need to worry about that. And then you get the options that really correspond to the filters. And then just within this scenario, I like the fact that it kind of made you think a bit more about what type of data could influence your decision making. So there was, the suggestions of real estate price. I was the data consumer. So I was obviously thinking about real estate prices and this kind of thing, but then I was also thinking demographics might influence my decision making. So it kind of made me think a bit outside the box of what data could have an influence on my decisions, which is something that's, I think, quite useful to do and a bit of help in understanding the kind of data you need to do this.
Yeah, no, that was exactly the purpose of it, trying to get it outside the whole PISTIS environment, just working on the concept itself, mentally speaking, putting your head inside this kind of scenario, because it helps you focusing on one end, on how to better use your data. For the example that you just provided, you start thinking that there are other type of data that you might be interested into, for example, the demographic ones. But on the other hand, it helps you playing around with things without feeling the risks of doing something wrong. That helps also realizing that, it's not that complicated and there is an added value behind that. Whereas if you face the solution when it's ready to go, in the impact at the beginning might be quite challenging, right? So that was the purpose. I don't see any hands raised or anything, so I'm gonna leave the floor to Yuri, of course. Please, you do have the link. You can keep on playing around. It also provides you the option, once you have completed, to replay it if you want to change the role. So it would be nice if you keep familiarizing with that and sending us feedback even after this meeting. If anything else comes to your mind, please get in touch. We would be happy to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, super. Thank you very much, Deborah. So then, Yuri, over to you just to bring it all together and explain a bit about PISTIS and how this can help companies and other organizations access more data.
Okay, thank you. I will share my screen. I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say a few words about project, or actually about PISTIS, our result which we are delivering, and how it can help potentially different enterprises, so small and media, and not just small and media enterprises, but in general enterprises, I would say. So maybe a few words in general about data and data sharing. So as you saw in the game, in principle, data trading does not differ so much from any other online data trading. So we know like platforms, I don't know, like eBay or Amazon. And if you want to sell something on such a platform, you need to describe your good properly. So to provide description so someone finds it and finds it attractive enough to pay something for it. So this is general principle, and for data, it's the same. And at the moment, the key concept, I would say, about data trading among of organization, it's around data spaces. So it's a bit more than just a data trading platform, because trading platforms exist since years, and it's more or less like eBay. So many of them, so where you can register a data set, and someone else will buy it, and you upload it, and someone else kind of can download it. So there are many such platforms which already exist, and you can find them relatively easily, and you also can offer there something. But data spaces, it's more about creating a trusted environment between different, or between communities, so in one community, or between different organizations, or to create an ecosystem where all players kind of trust it and proved who they are, and they can interpret and by trading or sharing data, even if it does not cost, maybe if it's kind of, they have already some agreements, it does not necessary to be monetized at the end, but it can be. And what is this concept of data spaces? And there are many big projects on that, but usually they focus only on the key topic about how to create such a trusted environment where someone can share data with each other and exchange data. So this is their main focus, and all other topics related to monetization, to how much your data worth, what is the value of it, and so on. So usually they are left out. So what we are trying to do in our project is to basically provide a solution like out of the box, which a community could take and create such a, let's say, a monetization platform or data space among of them, or use it kind of as a marketplace. So it's also possible. And we assume what all organizations have already some data infrastructure where they manage data usually, and we don't want to replace it, but we want to extend it with additional services. So this is what we are doing. So we are bringing kind of federated data trading, data sharing, and monetization platform where organizations could safely exchange in controlled environment data. And data originally remains in the premises of the organization, so it's not like it's moved somewhere to a central place or something. So we have a very trusted environment where you as data owner keeps the control over your data until you sign the contract and give a license to someone to use it. Okay, so here it's on this slide, it's a general architecture to understand. So you have this. There are two basic parts. One of them we call PISTIS Data Factory. This is what is run in your infrastructure. So where you have already existing infrastructure. So this is this blue part. And additionally, we provide additional services which enable this data exchange. And there is a yellow part, this yellow box, which we call PISTIS Cloud Platform. So it's a kind of orchestrator services which enable this interaction, and it hosts the central marketplace catalog where you can find all data sets available in basically this ecosystem. And it oversees all data transactions. So we use the modern technologies to really enable trust and in this ecosystem. And the cool thing is we have a modern technology also for deploying such services. So it's basically on pushing a button, you can deploy such a factory, what we call a factory in the cloud. And it can be cloud controlled by your organization, or it can be a certain provider which can offer such a cloud service, and we create another node over which you get the control, and only you have basically access to it. And after that, you can become, after you register in the central cloud platform, you can start exchanging and searching for data and selling and buying data, basically. This is the approach. And as a project, so what we are offering to, in general, what we aim to offer to different enterprises, of course, we are research projects. So what we are developing is a prototype, and later we are planning to do some exploitation with it. But in general, there are different axes of innovation in our project. One of them is we are focusing on this data management and preparing data for trading. So what needs to be done to provide high quality data, so someone would be interested actually to buy it. But even if you are not selling still, it's good to have a high quality data, even for exchanging in your organization. When you have different departments and you want to enable channels for exchanging data between different departments, but still tracking who got your data, who is using this data, and how is using, and if it's according to certain policies or not. And so we are providing services for such data preparation, and when we have services for federated secure data sharing, and all this sharing is done peer-to-peer, so it's directly without involvement of this central node. So basically, the organizations which are involved, after they sign an electronic contract, they can start exchanging this data. And we are providing special services which should provide better orientation to the data providers about potential value of data which we're offering, because it's difficult to judge how much you should ask for your data if you're not very much experienced, if you don't know the market, and so on. So we're trying to provide certain intelligent services to help and provide certain orientation to such data providers. And we are doing some also, of course, knowledge communication about this topic, and today's activity is also part of such a work. Okay, so this is our timeline. Now we have alpha release of the platform. It's already happened last year. So, and we are now evaluating it in 3 demonstrators. And in autumn this year, we will have a beta release, which will be public. At the moment, it's just a private release. I will make you a small demo in a few minutes. And in 2026, it's going to be released as, let's say, as final version working, which will be already possible to use and deploy it in different environments. So this is the slides, and quickly, we have 9 minutes. I will show you the demo. So here, this is where I log in. It's just our development, actually, platform. So where we are testing software. And here I log in to my data factory. So I'm a representative of an organization. So I select the user. I don't show you a password, of course. And OK, so first of all, I see the concept of project, how it's done at the moment is what organizations sell and buy data from other organizations. So the users are acting on behalf of organizations. So when I see here the transactions, these are all transactions by not my personal, but by my organization. Yeah. So, and please pay attention, it's just alpha version. So it's very basic first one. So it's still not perfect. So this is what I first see, what kind of transactions happened, what was the amount, and in the platform at the moment, just for testing purposes, we set certain percentage from every transaction which a platform provider takes for offering basically a platform service. It's one possible model, but it does not need to be exactly this one. It could be different. And usually in the organization, the process, like you saw in the game, starts from data registration or data ingestion. So I go to data ingestion, and here, so at the moment we use the scripts. Later we'll have a better user interface here, so where you don't need to use any scripts. But at the moment, because we're integrating different sources, it's a script based. You select a certain file. So I will not do it, but in general, you select the file, you provide description, and you provide this, also description in JSON. JSON is a special format, it does not matter. It's basically a description. Later, it will be much better done with fields and so on. And it's also possible here to program data transformation. We have a special catalog of possible data transformations, but it's at the moment also script-based. So it's not very user-friendly, I would say. Later, we will change it so where it will be just drag and drop and just selection of different options. So where you can prepare your data, where you can remove some columns or some delimiters or change the format of timestamps in your file, for example, or harmonize it or remove certain symbols, some things which will help you, or remove maybe half empty records or some columns and so on. So some preparation work which you want to do before you share the data in general. And here, basically, you do these activities. And then at the end of this process, your data set gets registered in your organizational catalog. And this is still something what belongs to your organization. What nobody, I will make it a bit bigger. This is a catalog just for your organization, and just members of your organization, registered users from your organization can see it. It's also even hosted at your organization or in the cloud controlled by your organization. So you are not basically publishing something outside at the moment. This is what you just prepared for potential future offering. Yeah, and here you can see these are my data. So this is data which I integrated in this platform or included, and this is acquired data. So these are data set which I bought from someone else. And here I can download them. I also can download, of course, my own data sets. At the moment, we are focused on tabular data, on CSV files, comma-separated value files. Also, any other files we also support. But the next version will support also data streams. So when you have data streams coming from different sensors, or maybe it can be video stream or something else, we also will support it. So it will be possible also to offer and buy data from data streams and so on, and integrate it with your infrastructure. So when I select a certain data set, I can perform here some operations. First of all, I can do data enrichment, so I can improve the quality of data. I can describe every column using existing domain knowledge models, like better describe the types and say, okay, first column, it's a timestamp, second column, it's address, it's a street name, third one, it's a house number, and so on. And this description is done using vocabularies. It means it's easy to translate this description to any language. It's kind of standardized description. We have also a special tool for anonymization, so you can anonymize your data, but it's very intelligent tool, so it can also check if you're sharing something sensitive or not, if there is a personal data or not. It can recognize it, and it can recommend you to use certain method. So you can be sure what you can offer it what you're offering does not have any kind of proprietary or any sensitive data, let's say. So you can keep control over it. So this is your catalog of your data. Okay, and but this is catalog in your organization. So after you publish this data set to a marketplace, so this is a marketplace catalog which is seen by everyone, and here you can acquire your data sets. So you can search for data set published by different organizations. Like here we have different organizations. You can of course, search by keywords, whatever, like test, I think the most popular keyword. And you can select certain data set. So here we did not provide so much description, but usually there is information about price and how you're supposed to use it, so license conditions and so on. And usually you're supposed to have here a good description, but because this instance of platform is used by developers, we don't like to write much text. So this is why as description we wrote just text DS. And here you can basically push a button buy, and after that your data set gets acquired by you, and you will see it in the list of your acquired data sets. Yeah, so in this acquired data, and from here you can download it, and you can start using it, basically. So this is very basic functionality at the moment. Additionally, there is also a data storage service, which has an API and applications they can directly connect it. So you don't need to download it first and so on. So you can also integrate it with your existing infrastructure, and this infrastructure will use the data and can rely on data. Especially it will be relevant for the case when you will have data streams. And additionally, we have also kind of overview of a market to see what's going on. So at the moment, it's more a mock-up because we don't have enough data sets here. But in general, it's to provide some analytics about what are the popular top kind of data sets, what kind of topics are popular, for which price, let's say, what is average price for data sets offering, and so on. So to provide better orientation to data buyers and data sellers. So this is it, more or less. Yeah. So this is what we are working on, and this is very alpha version. So, and in future, we will have more functionalities, more intelligence, better user interface, and we will support data streams, which is important. Another important maybe feature before I finish is what this, we have also functionality to connect these virtual coins, which we have here, we call it euros, to real money. Basically, there is a mechanism called stable coin. So when some banks provide such a possibility, so a data provider could offer also such functionality by connecting this software, which is already ready for that, to certain bank account, and basically exchanging these coins to real euros. Yeah, so it's possible. Yeah, that's it. Of course, it has some financial risk for the platform provider because at the end this is exchange of virtual money to real money, and of course all related things related like taxing and so on. So it needs to be taken into account to remain in the frame of legal frame. But we also are addressing these topics in our project. That's it. Thank you. If you have any questions.
I have a quick question. And I see also there's a hand raised. So Veronica, I'll let you go first and ask my question afterwards.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Thank you so much for the very inspiring presentations to all the speakers. I have just three questions. Very stupid, sorry. I'm just ignorant in all that. One is about the price. I mean, how is it defined? It is the data provider that sets the price they want to have, or it is a market, function, demand, offer? Okay, first. Second question has to do with the blockchain use. I see now these transactions that, of course, I understand that they are traded along the blockchain, but I saw that the factories, the data factories, are blockchain nodes. So yeah, how the blockchain environment has been thought to enable all that. And the last point is about, let me say, the sectorial outreach. Okay, because as far as I understand, this is, PISTIS aims to be everything, about everything, possibly. So in such a case, how to search? Me, for instance, I'm from the railway sector. So how can I guess that I will find, interesting data set here? Okay, and what is the kind of market positioning that you think PISTIS could have? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for very interesting questions. So very good. So first of all, about price. So in our platform, where data provided defines the price. So it's not like someone else is defining the price. We are just suggesting or giving some orientation or some information to data provider. And we are still working on this function. So we are trying to measure the potential value of data. Also, depending from, I know colleagues working also like asking about potential data usage of data, because depending how data is used, maybe also to some organization, you would like to offer one price and to another organization, another price. Yeah. Like for non-commercial use, maybe you do it for free, but for commercial use, something else. Or and also, we also going to implement a kind of a black list of buyers, in a sense, so you could discriminate your competitors. So if it can be what you have some concerns what your competitor could get your data, and you don't want them even to know what kind of data you are offering, to provide a mechanism basically to block them from accessing it. It's a bit against of data spaces concept, I would say, but this is what we want to offer, because we think it's a concern of many organizations when we thinking to offer something on the market, where we have concern what someone else could or where a competitor could get their data, and they sell it like, doesn't matter for how much money, but later they can, let's say, come in trouble because of that. So, and also in license restrictions, we also have mechanism to track what if someone buys data, we're not allowed to resell it, for example. Of course, it's difficult to trace it outside of a platform, but in the platform we can trace what's going with the data, and we have this tracing. So, and we use indeed blockchain technology for that. So all the transactions are recorded in blockchain, so it's like distributed network and where all transactions are recorded, and this information is used also to analyze kind of what's happening with the data set. We also have special tools, like we have a tool for lineage. I did not show it, but we have a tool where you can see the history of data set, how data set got changed. Is it original version or was it modified, and so on. So this information also can be provided to the customer, or we also can see in a global view what was happening with the data set. So we're also trying to do it. So blockchain is used also for all wallets, because every organization has a wallet. It's also kind of blockchain-based wallet here. So we have actually two blockchains, private and public ledgers. And the third question, what was the third question?
The sector outreach.
Sector outreach, yeah. So in general, at the moment, it's a general software. In a project, we have 3 different domain hubs, or how we call it demonstrator hubs. So 3 different sectors. One is automotive. We have one smart energy, and we have one which is like urban and public transport and aviation. So it's in Athens, basically Athens region in Greece. And but this is just for demo purposes. The idea would be, because it's general software, you can use it differently. We don't know yet if we create a kind of centralized service for all possible sectors, or it can be used just for concrete sector. Like if certain companies or even one company wants to offer this service for particular sector, for particular country, of a particular domain or whatsoever, it's possible. So, and yeah, so it's not meant to be like one service for all Europe or something like that. It's rather a service for smaller communities where you have a need to exchange data, or where you want to create kind of open space, trusted open space, where companies can come, exchange data, get data, and so on. So this is the concept. But also other projects similar on data spaces, like for automotive data or some other data. So here we don't have ambition to create like a service for all Europe, it's just a research project at the moment. Thank you for the question.
Thanks to you.
Okay, Cyprian has a question, and also there's a couple of comments in the chat as well, Yuri.
Yeah, hello. I'm working for eBrains, and I have a question related to sharing personal data and medical data. How can you make sure that this doesn't happen?
Yeah, okay. So for this purpose, we have an anonymizer tool, yeah, so which can identify personal data. Maybe I can show you. Where is it? My data. And in general, in our project, we don't treat medical data, so we don't have such scenario, and it's not a platform for medical data.
Yes, but you facilitate data exchange. How
Yes.
can you make sure that, let's say, malicious people don't publish such data?
That's a good question. But in our case, it's not just individual people, but representatives of organizations, first of all. So we have like an ecosystem where we know who is dealing with what. Yeah. So for example, here, this is our anonymization tool. So I started it for whatever data set. I even don't know what is it. What is the preview here? So this is how a data set looks like. And it provides you a sensitivity report. So it can try, or the tool will try to analyze if there is any sensitive data in the data set. Yeah. But in general, the point is also, it's not like if you have explicit, it's not like it's not permitted to share medical data or sell medical data. You just need to have permission for that, yeah? Or especially explicit consent from the persons which data you are going to share. And if one organization has such consent, then it's okay for them to share it with someone else. So it's not a point. But what we really provide, we provide tools for anonymizing such data. So there are different methods which we provide, like k-anonymity and with obfuscation, which I personally don't know. I'm not an expert. But basically, you can obscure sensitive data by removing or masking it by replacing values and so on. So this is how we address this issue. So by kind of flexible anonymization tool.
Yeah, with medical data, I guess it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but okay. Thank you.
A couple of comments in the chat. You can see that.
Okay.
There was one question and asking if they're all GIS-based data sets.
Is it in the chat? Oh.
Yeah.
No, no. I also can comment the question from Natasha. It's a very good question. Okay, so these are, well, they can be GIS-based data sets, but not necessary. So where it could be different data sets. So GIS is, if I understand right, it's a kind of geolocational information data sets. So not all of them are GIS data sets. So we have data sets of very different kind. So we don't have medical data, that's true. But different data sets we have. About control, yes, it's an issue. Actually, yes, at least we don't have a method for that. What we have, of course, what we sign a legal agreement, and the data is shared under certain license, which oblige the organization to treat data in a certain way. But when data leave the platform, basically we are losing connection to it. Only when it's with data after some iterations comes back to our platform, we can identify, and we have mechanism for that to identify what this data is actually comes from that originality, but nothing more. So we cannot claim.
So generally speaking, hello, Yuri. So generally speaking, you cannot control any type of transactions with the data. Once I have bought it and renamed the files and then renamed the database, I can do whatever I want with it. You have zero control over it.
I mean, if you just rename a file and try to sell it again on our platform, we will identify what is same data.
Well, that would be stupid of me to do it over your platform.
Yeah, okay, but I agree. That would be stupid to do it on the same place. But in our platform, we can identify if it's the same data or not. And because, for example, we have, at least, for example, if you're not permitted to resell it data, it will be in our case, you're not permitted to resell it in our platform. But we cannot stop you from going to eBay or whatever, you know, or our platform and resell it.
Well, the point is that's what I see with the blockchain technology, that there is a limit, for instance, on the OpenSea and all these trading platforms. You are selling the tokens, the NFT. Once you rename the PNG file, you have already a new token. So generally speaking, you can sell the same artwork, which is native token on OpenSea, on Rails, on whatever you name it. So you have one product and you sell it on all the things. And generally speaking, there is no instrument that you are protecting the database and that you are able to protect the database from being misused by the customer. If I'm making another silo and out of your databases and reselling it, it is my business. Okay? I
agree.
About the GIS data, it was the geographic information system like PS3. They are offering a lot of very nice data and also a lot of exchange possibilities inside of the platform. That's what I was meaning.
Yeah, I agree. So kind of back to blockchain, it's just, of course, what are different platforms, and there is no one central blockchain or something. This blockchain is inside of only this platform only. So just in this ecosystem. So in this ecosystem, we have this control, but when it leaves it, you cannot control that anymore. Only you can show just from where you got it. So where is the kind of proof? If someone will come to you and ask, okay, where did you get this data? It will be possible to show, okay, I got it from this platform. Where is the record in blockchain? How I bought it, basically. But it's not like we are watching how you use data until your final product. No. So just in this platform. But your point is correct.
I live in Austria and I'm working with the governmental authorities in different places. And I started in Moscow, Moscow Mathematical College. And I have a kind of a Russian school, you know. When I see the level of knowledge of the authorities in Austria and also of the people making decisions, I could really cry. And once I see these possibilities, and then they're coming with the idea, oh, let's buy this and this and that, and sell this and this and that. I always warn them and tell them, look, guys, it's a kind of a tricky game. If you sell it once, you have no control. And it's really difficult to explain to the people what it happens, what kinds of risks it is connected to.
Yes, in general, yes, but you can say the same about many things. You can say it also, for example, about open source code for software. So when someone shares with you source code, it's done under certain license, and which, for example, does not allow you to use it for commercial purposes. There are such licenses. But still, if you're a company and if you don't respect the license, you can build your products, and it will be very difficult for someone to really prove what you really did not respect the license. But once it happens, if someone kind of gets you get suspected what you did it, and you cannot prove, I don't know, but you can run in trouble. So, and the serious companies usually don't do it. They try to respect the legal frameworks and respect the rules. So usually, I mean, sometimes, of course, it happens, but usually people try to respect in this case. But I agree, there is no technical mechanism for that. So there are some works about, to integrate it certain, how it's called, like some certain codes, in data, so it's easier to identify. But anyway, if it's in our silos, and if it's isolated, and others don't have access to it, you cannot really do anything. So that's the issue, because it's a digital product. And if it's not a public product, but you put it offline or in your certain ecosystem, closed ecosystem, then you cannot trace it or whatsoever. It's old problem, and I think it will remain. If we don't want to get monitored permanently and everywhere, and I think we don't. Okay, but thank you for the question. You're absolutely right.
Okay, I don't see any more questions now, so I think we can wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Yuri and Deborah and Luigi, for the presentations. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you want to learn more about PISTIS or keep in touch, of course, we have the website. And then in the follow-up email, I'll send the presentations and the recording, also kind of the links to follow us on social media and the newsletter. So I'll just say thank you very much once again to the presenters and wish you all a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.